The Global Briefing on SAfm.
Well, let's start here. A crater 10 meters wide has been found in a farm field in eastern Poland, and it's about 2 kilometers from people's houses. Polish fighter jets scrambled overnight with it. The Prime Minister Donald Tusk says the object that made it was, in all likelihood, a Russian missile, and his foreign minister has called it a violation of NATO airspace. It came during one of the heaviest Russian barrages of the war, an attack that killed at least 8 people in Ukraine, children among them. Nobody in Poland was hurt this time. Dr. Joan Swart is researcher in military science at Stellenbosch University. So, Dr. Joan, it's not the first time Poland has had objects cross its border. 2022, 2024, the drone swarm in 2025. What makes this particular incident different, if anything?
I don't think we can say at the moment right now, by the way, good morning, Cathy, sorry. I don't think we can say right now that it's different and how it is different. I mean, you mentioned a couple of examples. I can recall one other one that was maybe a year or two ago, where a missile actually killed a farmer in Poland. And immediately, again, Russia was blamed for the incident. And after investigation, they found that it was a Ukrainian missile that went off direction. So the problem is, of course, the longer this war continues, the more difficult it is to contain the war within Ukraine's borders. And we recall just a week or so ago as well, Ukraine's attack on an Iranian vessel in the Caspian Sea. So, you know, modern wars really remain geographically confined. And even when neighboring countries are not directly involved, they face the risk of spillover, of miscalculation, unintended escalation, and sometimes even deliberate false flag attacks where one country wants to actually broaden the theater of war and involve other countries to come and help it. So, you know, whether it's accidental escalation or deliberate, history reminds us that often major conflicts widen because of incidents that neither side originally intended. So we need to, it just emphasizes how important clear communication, crisis management, and restraint is to manage escalation. And we talk about an escalation trap where both sides sort of get trapped in reactive attacks against one another, sort of a tit-for-tat type of attack.
What we're seeing in Venezuela is that there is a UN fact-finding mission that is pressing that country to reverse its withdrawal from the international court, right? And it's warning that this could, of course, deter accountability for alleged crimes against humanity. It's always a big blow when countries decide to, renege, particularly where they have ratified the Rome Statute.
Yes, absolutely. So at the moment, we're seeing a growing pressure on the legitimacy of these international institutions at a time when international order itself is under increasing strain. So the challenge to this international order is coming from multiple directions. It's not only from Venezuela, but also the Sahel. Chad recently, in the last recent couple of days, announced their withdrawal after Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger also withdrew from the ICC. And it also comes from the fact that the United States is not an ICC member. Israel itself rejects the court's jurisdiction. So there are recent tensions between the court and major powers. And it's just intensified this debate about or over consistency of the application of the ICC, and its application of international law, perceptions of political selectivity, and this has been Africa's main complaint as well. And then national sovereignty. Countries say that they would prefer um, to take, to handle their own problems and violations of international law.
Yeah, and just finally, Joan, we've seen Australia's online regulator hauling Telegram into the federal court. They're seeking penalties of up to 54.6 million Australian dollars. It's over pro-terror material. And the regulator says this material stayed up for weeks, even after Telegram was notified about it. It does also speak to how countries are trying to keep themselves safe in an increasingly dangerous online environment.
Yes, they even talk about the Christchurch attack, which was years ago, that they still say material is still online. So Pavel Durov, the founder and CEO of Telegram, he's of course in trouble across many countries. He was arrested near Paris in 2024, also on allegations that Telegram facilitated serious criminal activity by failing to cooperate with the French law enforcement and allowing criminal networks to operate on the platform. Also, just this week, Russian authorities formally charged Durov also with aiding terrorism and announcing that they would place him on an international wanted list. So this debate is primarily over who ultimately governs the digital space. The technology companies on the one side or sovereign states on the other side. Um, and the question is then whether governments can successfully enforce domestic law against these platforms. And there, of course, needs to be a balance between public safety, freedom of expression, and digital sovereignty. And unfortunately, I think at the moment, worldwide freedom of expression suffers from this whole exercise.
Dr. Joan Swart, let me thank you for your time, research and military science at the University of Stellenbosch.